And now, the general weather around Alaska.
Starting off with a hazardous weather graphic here, we've got out for St. Lawrence Island, a high surf advisory there for the north coast of the island there. That's out until midnight tonight, and look for continued possibility of minor beach erosion due to large breaking waves of anywhere from 7 to 12 feet. And out here to the east, high wind advisory out for tonight until early tomorrow morning or the overnight period tonight for continued gusty southeast winds anywhere possibly as high as 60 miles per hour. And satellite imagery showing broad area low pressure here dropping southward, another center developing here and coming northward here, and a lot of moisture coming up again, a whole big band of showers and rain coming up to the North Gulf Coast today. Inland, pushing inland, another band right through here in the central interior, really not producing much in the way of anything more than a few scattered showers. And rain starting to become lighter and taper off here over the southeast coast, as you can see. Warm front with the next system already spreading up that way, but should have a dry overnight period tonight. And then mostly north to northwest flow coming down over the eastern Bering Sea, lighter winds in through here. And this next system out to the southwest, pretty much staying down to the south there. Another system up here in the Russian Far East will be dropping in to the northwestern Bering Sea tomorrow night and on Monday. Otherwise, on the chart today, here's this low starting to drop southward now and continuing to slowly weaken. It's bringing some pretty gusty winds up to anywhere as high as 40 to 50 miles an hour for the eastern Aleutians here with numerous showers. Gusty winds up to the Pueblos, winds gusting all the way up to St. Lawrence Island in the 35 to 40 mile per hour range, some higher gusts there in the exposed areas. And breezy conditions right up through the Bering Strait, some skiffs of light snow along the Arctic coast, really not amounting to too much there with dry conditions over the interior with some areas seeing some partial clearing today. And again, this continued south to north flow keeps rain and showers socked in along the North Gulf Coast and the Prince William Sound, as well as along the western Alaska Range down to southern Cook Inlet. This front having pushed through the panhandle there. So again, rain on the decrease here over the southeast coast through the afternoon, but showers falling across much of the area still, but a lot lighter than it was when the front moved through. And then this next system down to the south tonight will begin to pull northward, spreading rain and an increase in the wind into Kodiak Island. This area of moisture where this system links up with another trough and the moisture already in place here for the North Gulf Coast, or a general area of rain from the North Gulf Coast all the way down into that next system though. But drying out over the panhandle tonight, at least a short break there with mostly dry conditions later tonight into early tomorrow morning. And this trough swinging down as this low now crosses the Alaska Peninsula, dropping southward, and that could bring winds anywhere from 40 to 60 miles an hour out of the northwest here. Gale warnings for sure for the eastern Aleutians tonight and into tomorrow, or through the day tomorrow, having gale warnings there. And then showers really tapering off to the north here. Still breezy, but not quite as windy through the Bering Strait and St. Lawrence Island tomorrow. And lighter winds, you can see high pressure out there over the western Bering Sea. That'll keep this system down to the south, and still a risk of some light snow or flurries along the Arctic coast, anything of which won't amount to too much. Dry over the interior with a fair amount of possible clearing here on the east side, north of the Alaska Range, or even north of the White Mountains. And then for the day tomorrow, we've got this low tracking northward off the north coast of the Panhandle there, so that could bring some pretty gusty winds. Exactly how far to the west it is or to the east. So look for an increase in the wind and rain as this front pushes back in. So again, after the break tonight, by tomorrow morning, probably back into the rain with the front right along the coastline in the afternoon or pushing inland. And still unsettled with rain and showers for the North Gulf Coast, but not to the extent they were. Drier day for Cook Inlet into the western Alaska Range, stays dry over the interior. No change for the Arctic coast. And still looking at some pretty breezy north to northwest winds here. St. Lawrence Island all the way down to the Alaska Peninsula, but those winds will be diminishing for the eastern Aleutians through the afternoon tomorrow slowly, and becoming pretty light and variable out to the west under high pressure over the western Bering Sea, centered right near Shimia and Two Islands. And for the outlook on Monday, That high edges eastward here, bringing the light winds and dry conditions to much of the Aleutians. Still a risk of some early day showers for the eastern Aleutians. Those will probably end by the afternoon. And then a weak front dropping into the northwestern Bering Sea there, kind of nudging this ridge eastward a little bit. And that's going to really lighten the winds up for St. Lawrence Island and even along the Yukon Delta coast there. Chance of light snow, Seward Peninsula, northward from areas probably north of Kivalina, more likely Port Hope, Cape Lisburne, all the way over to Point Ley, Wainwright area, maybe Utagavik there, but dry on the eastern Arctic coast. Some clearing over the interior, again with light winds, and still showers likely for the Prince William Sound area, westward into eastern Turnagain Arm, and even more so for the areas toward Yakutat, and still looking pretty unsettled with cloudy skies and moisture falling across just about all of the southeast coast. Lows tonight down that way in the 40s and 30s and 40s, southern Alaska here. In the 20s, central interior, and teens for the Brooks Range, 20s for the North Slope, and 20s and 30s for the Arctic coast. Lows down to 39 for St. Paul, otherwise lower 40s for the Aleutians. Highs for tomorrow, mid-40s for the Pribilofs, and mid-40s also, maybe upper 40s for the eastern Aleutians. Upper 30s, St. Lawrence Island, otherwise highs 40s to near 50 over the interior, all the way down to Kodiak Island, and 50 to 55 or so for the southeast coast. 30s from the Brooks Range out to the Arctic coast across the North Slope. Lows 15 to 20 for the Brooks Range on Monday morning. 20s over the central and eastern interior, and mid-30s, mid to upper 30s, or 35 to 40 for the south central Alaska area, closer to 30 in the Copper River Basin, and lows in the 40s again for the Panhandle, and right around 40 here either side for the Aleutians, and then that'll be followed by highs, upper 40s there for Bristol Bay, lower 50s for Kodiak Island, right on up across the Kenai Peninsula into the Susitna-Manuska Valley, Copper River Basin, upper 40s, in the 40s in the interior south of the Brooks Range, 30s from the Brooks Range to the Arctic coast, and 50 to 55 for the Panhandle.